Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. This is going to be about how to have done something in Spanish. So to have something in the past in Spanish. All right, this is not the have of tener, to possess something, but to have done something. And it's not too hard to actually put verbs into this format in Spanish. And this is obviously super useful. I will mention too, they use this a lot more in Spain rather than the past tense. Obviously, the past tense is so common as well, but you'll also see this format used just slightly more in Spain. You know, instead of saying I ate, they might say I have eaten instead. Obviously, they'll say both. I'm just saying that it's more prominent in Spain, and obviously this is also super common in Latin American Spanish as well, so just something to keep in mind. All right, so let's get into the video anyways. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want more content like this, and comment below your Spanish questions and I'll answer them in a future video. So we've got our fancy whiteboard here. So first we've got to know has, hemos, and han. You might as well take off the H in these words because you don't pronounce it anyway, so it's has. It's not he and has, right? It's has, hemos, and han. And like we said, this is the have of having done something in the past. This is not the tener of possessing something, right? So the first step is just either saying I have for has is you have, he, she, or it has is hemos, and han. So that's pretty simple. The next step, so you can literally put a plus sign here. The next step would be verb in its past participle form. I always say that wrong. I'm sorry. My mom corrects me all the time for that. She'll watch my videos and be like, it's participle, not participle, you idiot. So I don't know English, but I can teach Spanish well. So it's pretty simple as well to put a verb in its past participle form. All that fancy word means is the past tense version of a verb. Now, every single verb in the Spanish language is going to end in one of these three combinations. It's either going to end in the letters AR, IR, or ER. So if it ends in AR, you take off the AR ending and you add ado. If it ends in IR or ER, it's an ido ending. So this is exactly the same whether it's IR or ER. So just remember ado, ido, and ido. Pretty simple, so you've only got to remember two words. Now here's an example of this in action. If I have a verb like comer, in English this would be to eat. So the past participle version of eat in English is eaten. So that's like the past tense version of the word eat. So all we've got to do is notice, okay, in Spanish, if I want to put this in the past tense version or the past participle form, it ends in ER, so I take off that ER ending and I make it comido. So you just come over here, ER becomes ido, comido, and this means eaten in the past tense. So if we wanted to say, I have eaten, all we've got to do is follow this formula I've put up there at the top, and we've got, I have I know it sounds weird to say but it's literally a word, comido. That's all you've got to do to say that you have done something. Now, there are a few instances where you're going to notice that there are some irregular verbs in the past participle form. There's not too many, so don't freak out. It's not like the past preterite form where you've got just a million verbs in the that are irregular in the past tense. There are verbs like hacer is not ha sido. I wish it was, but it's hecho. Volver is vuelto. Decir, to say said, is dicho. Abrir, to open or to have opened, would be abierto. Ver becomes visto. So you can literally Google, give me a list of irregular verbs in the past participle form in Spanish, and you'll see a list of them. It's not too extensive, and they're really common, so they're not too hard to learn. And it's cool because when you learn the past participle in Spanish, you notice a lot of things that you probably already know. You just didn't realize that you were using technically the past tense version of something, because a lot of times the past participle form becomes adjectives. Like cansado is from the verb cansar. Literally the verb cansar is to tire someone out, or to tire yourself out. So when you're saying tired, it's cansado or cansada. If you've got, hey, the door is open, it's abierta with an A at the end. because door is a feminine word. If you were to say, your phone is open, it would be abierto with an O because phone is masculine. So sometimes it can become an adjective. Now, whenever you're a point here though, whenever you're using this form where you're using it as a verb and not an adjective, it always ends in an O. Okay, you never make it a. Even if it's like a girl doing the action and you're like, oh, maybe it's a feminine with an A at the end, it's not the case. It's always, if it's a verb, it ends in O, all right? Because you're conjugating the verb. You're not changing it according to a subject or a noun to describe something. But if you're using these words, it's just a cool point to look at and be like, oh, that's why if you say, hecho in China, it's made in China. It's past participle. We've got hacer, which is to do or to make, so it's hecho en China. So that's pretty much the lesson. Let's do some examples, and I'm going to challenge you to try to translate these yourself. So I'm going to write some examples, and I'm going to give you a little bit of time to translate that. So have you seen it? I'll go ahead and give you a hint that it is going to be lo to start off the sentence. But how do you say have you seen? And it's the exact same format whether you're asking a question or making a statement when it comes to this. So it doesn't change the order in which the words go whether you're asking a question or not. So have you seen it is the same. You would say it the same as if you were saying you have seen it. So this would be lo has visto. Now, if you said vido, it's just not right because ver, as you saw before, is an irregular verb in the past participle. So that's why it's visto. So it's lo has visto because you have, and then verb in the past participle form. Let's do some examples with some regular verbs. They have had it for a long time. This seems complicated, but just take it word for word. How would you say they have using this? Because they have had. So we're saying they have had. It's like saying they have done something. So it's han. And surprisingly, tener in the past participle form is regular. You wouldn't think it would be, but it actually is. So it's han tenido. I forgot to put the it here. So it's lo han tenido. For a long time is por mucho tiempo. I'm more concerned about you knowing how to conjugate the verb rather than the vocabulary of like for a long time or something like that. We haven't eaten today. Now, the only thing you have to do to make it negative, to say not that you haven't done something, is just put the word no in front of all of this. Really simple. So it's as if you were saying we have eaten today with the word no in front of it. So it would be no hemos comido hoy. Pretty simple. Has she studied for her exam? So we've got has she. So it would just be a. Estudiar is how you say to study. So how do you make it studied? It would be estudiado para su examen is for her exam. You could also say para el examen for the exam. It's fine as well. They have arrived 20 minutes late. Han llegado 20 minutos tarde. Now, just another quick point with all of these examples that I've said, yes, you can put the subject in front of it. Like if you were to say, has Sarah studied for her exam, it would be Sara ha estudiado para su examen. If you wanted to say ella ha estudiado, if you wanted to say ellos han llegado, or yo he something, you can absolutely put the subject there. We know that in Spanish, you don't have to ever include the subject or the person's name because the way that you conjugate verbs, it's implied who you're talking about, which is why you don't have to do that. I want to invite you now to a free training I've put together that shows you how to become fluent in Spanish within a year. I show you the 3 strategies that I used that allowed me to become fluent in Spanish within a year, and I was able to have real conversations in Spanish within just a couple of months from when I started. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same, what you should focus on, what you shouldn't focus on, and so much more. And again, this is a free training, so all you've got to do is just click on the link in the description below, and you can sign up for this free training right now. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. That way you can reach other people. Hope that you enjoyed it. Comment below any other questions that you have in Spanish. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Ciao.